It is 2 minutes after. I did start recording through Zoom again, but Brad, let us know whenever you start the live recording and I will go ahead and get started.
Okay. I am trying to remember how to do this. Is it up here, maybe? No, up here. Does anybody recall how to do that?
Mm-mm.
The
And
button sign. Oh,
On
Josh
the
is
more button, there's the record, and then is it not request to record to the computer, but is it under apps maybe?
it's the apps here.
I tell you, we are recording on
Yeah.
Zoom and that's sufficient for now. And let's just make
But
sure that before you got it?
no, I mean, we'll put it up on Zoom. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right, I now call the meeting to order at 7:03 p.m. Welcome to ANC 1E's July General Body Meeting. A few administrative notes. Today's meeting is being recorded. Closed caption is available for each user by clicking the button on the toolbar below. Please submit questions through the Q&A function, also located on the toolbar below. Commissioners will be keeping an eye on the Q&A throughout the evening. If you are calling in rather than participating through the web, you may raise your hand dialing *9. I'll now ask Secretary Grant to please conduct the roll call.
Okay, great. Thank you, Commissioner Footer. Commissioner Howard,
Here.
Commissioner Hawker,
Present.
right, Commissioner Brown, Commissioner Newland,
Present.
Commissioner Jacobson,
He raised his hand, so I'm assuming that means present.
okay,
I
and
will
Commissioner
move
Footer.
and present.
Right.
And just for the record, Commissioner Jacobson, can you just say present?
Present.
Great.
Thank you.
And Commissioner Jacobson, if you could, I'm trying to make this go live.
Oh,
Or text me
yes.
now. Yeah. Thank you. I may not have the authority.
All right, with 6 commissioners present, we have a quorum. All right, so actually, let me share my screen really quickly. All right, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Great. All right. Per DC law, the ANC meeting was noticed to the community via listserv, social media, website, and e-calendar. Moving to the approval of the agenda, today we will start off with our consent agenda, and we have 2 items which I'll get to in just a moment. We'll move over to community announcements, and we have our 2 regularly scheduled community members from the government. Then we'll go on to official business. We have 3 resolutions for consideration. There's a topic of conversation that we want to have under the Transportation Public Space Committee that Commissioner Howard will bring up. And then that is everything for our agenda. I do also just want to note that we are not going to be meeting in August. The committees do have the discretion to determine if they want to meet in August. And right now, based on conversations I've had with each chair, they are expecting to meet in September. I bring that up at this point in time because if any of the committee members do wish to change that and they do expect that they're going to meet in August, please raise your hand, let me know, let me correct it as we kind of approve the agenda now. So with that, are there any edits or amendments to the agenda? Hearing none, I'll now accept a motion to approve the agenda.
I move with unanimous consent that we adopt the agenda.
Is there any dissent? Hearing none, the motion passes and the agenda is adopted. Thank you very much. All right, the consent agenda. So just a reminder, all matters listed under consent are considered by the commission to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. Any commissioner may, however, remove an item from the consent agenda by request. The consent agenda tonight includes the approval of the June meeting minutes and approval of the ANC 1E's quarterly financial report for Q3 of FY25. Do any commissioners wish to move either of these agenda items out of consent for further discussion? Hearing none, I'll now accept a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
So moved.
Is there a
Seconded.
second?
Yeah.
All right, we have a motion and we have a second. All those in favor of adopting the matters listed under the consent agenda simply signify by raising your hand or saying aye.
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 Perfect. With, are there any objections? They signify by saying nay. And any abstentions? All right, with 6 in favor, 0 opposed, and 0 abstentions, the motion passes and the consent agenda is adopted. All right, moving down to community announcements. The commissioners and members of the community can use this time to make public announcements, distribute information, or alert the community about issues. We'll start with commissioners, then move to Councilmember Brianne Nadeau's office, then the Mayor's Office of Community Relations and Services, also known as MOCRS, and then members of the public. All speakers will have 3 minutes. If you're here to speak on an issue or topic under official business, please hold until we get to that agenda item later in the meeting. And with that, do any commissioners have any announcements? Commissioner Howard, I believe, did you have an announcement? This would be your time.
Yeah, I had my hand up on the virtual
Oh,
thing.
sorry.
I'm now here frozen, so I'm not sure if y'all can hear me.
We can.
Okay, good. So I just wanted to give an update on the Pepco power outages issue. As you know, as a result of the last meeting, we filed an official complaint with the Public Service Commission in addition to the Office of People's Counsel. The Public Service Commission has to get back with us within X number of days. They did. And what they essentially said, they got a response from Pepco. And they sent us the response, which I immediately sent to all of you, the commissioners, on this call. The response was, as you would imagine, based on our past experiences with Pepco at the moment, was very vague. It didn't really address any of the concerns head on that we brought up at our meeting and in our communications to Pepco. And they didn't present, kind of any specifics, give us any details about what was really going on, or what specifically they're doing and all that kind of stuff. So I sent around a response which I will post to the ANC 1E website. We sent a resolution, so this is a continuing follow-up on that. Just to remind folks, we've had close to 10 power outages and within a 11-month period here in Parkview. Lots of residents complaining. But what we have asked for, again, is a formal investigation, which I think PSC is now required to move forward on. We want the Pepco to hold public hearings in the community. We've asked Pepco for a series of power outage data, which they've yet to provide. And we wanted to just kind of know specifically, yes, we know specifically what's gone on in each of these outages. We know what's caused each of them, but there's so many each of them that we're arguing that there's probably a more systemic issue going on, particularly because it's such a small area. So, and as you all know, Public Service Commission investigates utilities, and I pointed out in our response, again, that they've been granted these rate increases over the years. So our constituents are paying more for electricity and getting worse service. So, or at least unreliable service. And, in a city like DC, this is just unacceptable. So, luckily we have not had a power outage in about 30 days, knock on wood. So, given the heat, I hope we can see progress there. But so the Public Service Commission, we had until I think today to submit it, and I submitted it. They got a confirmation back, and I technically got an office reply. But as soon as we get another update from them, we'll let you know. But I will post that correspondence on the website for folks to see. And so we are making some progress here and getting some answers from Pepco.
Great, thank you so much. Commissioners, any other announcements?
Yeah, just one more from me briefly. Thank you, Commissioner Flutter. Commissioner Howard and I met last week at the Parkview Recreation Center with Councilmember Brianne Nadeau and representatives from DGS. Who else was there, Brad? Commissioner Howard?
A lot of folks for the DP, our staff.
DPR staff.
They were great.
Right. To discuss some of the concerns around lead levels, primarily externally at the park site, but also internally. It was a learning session, an awareness session to help us understand the difference between detection and when detection poses a risk. But there was also discussion of trying to determine some kind of protocol of notification and action. So the conversation is ongoing. There is a petition that was signed by 100 parents to address this issue. There was also a discussion about what kind of changes or replacement materials will take place with the Parkview Recreation Center renovation. And that seemed to assuage some concerns, but some things are still unclear. And so the community will continue to engage with key stakeholders on this issue.
Great, thank you.
As a reminder, that rec center is going to be completely renovated over the next few years.
Right, long overdue.
And so there's going to be community meetings on the design, et cetera, et cetera. So just alerting folks on the call who live in the area, if you have a particular preference on design aesthetics or functionality of the rec center, expect to see a bunch of meetings over the next couple of years. That funding did carry through in the budget. It's happening, so that's good.
Did DPR
Thank
give
you.
any like sign up URL or anything that we can share with the community? Typically when they're in the beginning stages of saying that they're going to have community forums and all that kind of stuff, they have some sort
Not
of like
yet,
go to this.
yeah.
No. Okay.
Not yet, but we'll stay on top of that.
We, Mr. Chairman, will advocate. I know we're looking to have an in-person meeting. We toured, Commissioner Grant and I toured like the facilities as well, and recommend that as a spot for future meetings in person. So could be a good timely way to update everyone on this issue.
Yeah, that's great. All right, commissioners, any other announcements? All right, I have three very quickly. One, a couple of months ago, the ANC had passed the budget allocation for being able to purchase, in coordination with 1B, some banners to replace some broken banners and stuff around Shaw, the North Shaw area. And we have been we've kind of increased this effort. And so we haven't spent that money because we've been working diligently to engage the community on basically redefining the neighborhood as potentially like the Duke district, things of that nature, and trying to do more of a concerted effort of having a banner campaign across U Street, basically starting from where I am on roughly like 7th Street, and then all the way over to like 16th. And so with that, we've been doing a lot of research. We've gotten a design firm involved. We've been doing reaching out to a number of different print organizations, and we're starting to organize a steering committee that's going to start meeting in either August or September, and we'll have a big kind of launch, and we'll be making decisions. But want to give people an update on that. Two, last year you guys heard me speak a lot about updates to Casey Lewis. The group of community members have been extremely patient and are now reinvigorating some of the conversation. Essentially, DPR has been taking an extraordinarily long time to release and get the RFP out, make a decision on the final things that we had advocated for. The last time was in December when we had done a walkthrough, and nothing had really transpired since then. I've been working with DPR to try and push things along and make sure that we actually can reinvigorate engage the community and reinvigorate some of the energy around it. And so hopefully in the next like month or so, we're going to have a community meeting, kind of reshare all of the information, get some updates on where the RFP is, and hopefully get shovels in the ground around Casey Lewis. And then the third thing is that I want to just thank some members of the Wren, which is the building that's right next to me. It's actually in 1B, but it's basically a building that's between Commissioner Jacobson and my district. There have been a lot of complaints about illegal parking along 9th Street. The former commissioner, Commissioner Lakatos, had taken this up about a year, maybe more like a year and a half ago. and it kind of got stalled. We brought it back up, and now the signs are being printed, and they should be installed in the next couple of weeks. And DPW has been alerted that that's happening, and they'll start to enforce it. So hopefully in the next month or so, some relief around 9th Street parking, illegal parking will be corrected. So that is all that I have. All right, next we will move to Estelle McKinney with Councilmember Brian Nadeau's office. Estelle, I will promote you to panelist.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Hello.
I hope everyone's having a nice summer so far. I'm Estelle. I'm Councilmember Nadeau's Director of Constituent Services, and I just wanted to share a few updates from the council. So first, the council took its first vote on the FY26 budget on July 14th and made some major improvements to the budget that was originally proposed. So some highlights are in an 8-4 vote, the council approved funding to implement the ranked choice voting ballot initiative following the overwhelming support from voters in last September. The budget also funds pay equity for early childhood educators, protects restaurant workers by delaying the repeal of I-82, and invest in road safety through the STEER Act and legislation to crack down on fraudulent tax. It also includes funding for substance use disorder outreach, housing prevention, or housing preservation and production, and restore some funding for ERAP and permanent supportive housing for families. And for Councilmember Nadeau's role as chair of the Public Works and Operations Committee, Councilmember Nadeau secured funding for expanding the composting pilot program and better waste collection. She has also put funding towards expanding the Throne public restrooms across the district from 6 to 10 and adding over 250 new public litter and recycling cans across the city. For Ward 1 specifically, the budget supports, as well as the Parkview Rec Center renovation and Casey Lewis renovation as well in ANC 1E. The budget also supports the Bancroft Elementary Annex, renovations at Rosemount Early Childhood Center, upgrades at Amigos Park, and also the triangle set around 7th and T at 625 T Street Northwest, and also a new water source at Wangari Gardens, which is really exciting. However, there's still more work to be done before the final vote, which is on Monday, July 28th. Councilmember Nadeau is pushing to restore alliance funding, which is critical healthcare for many folks who might not otherwise be qualified for like Medicaid, for instance. This is largely many immigrant households. And also she's working towards fully funding community violence intervention programs across the district, specifically the ones that serve Ward 1, and also increase funding for ERAP, as there's still a pretty critical gap in funding for ERAP, which is the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. And I'll share a link from our website as well that kind of goes into some more of the funding aspects in more detail. Next, I would like to share an update about TOPA. So on July 9th, the Housing Committee voted on its version of the Mayor's Rental Act. While this original bill was pretty anti-tenant, the Housing Committee made some key improvements, in large part to Councilmember Nadeau's advocacy. Those include streamlining the TOPA process, penalties for bad actors who mislead or delay the TOPA process, and earlier access to information for tenants, and tax incentives to encourage collaboration with tenants. However, some serious concerns remain, and the bill still weakens tenants' rights. So on July 14th, the council voted to delay final action so further improvements can be made to the Rental Act. And next, a quick update about the Throne restrooms, such as the one at Civic Plaza in Columbia Heights. So these were shut down on July 4th due to congressional interference with DC's budget, which terminated certain contracts. So while the mayor had extended funding month to month since February, it wasn't renewed for July for unclear reasons. However, after strong public pressure, the mayor's office reclassified these restrooms as essential services and will fund them through September when FY26 funding kicks in. However, the city administrator still hasn't processed the contract, but it should be opening up soon. We just don't know when, and our office is actively pushing to get these restrooms reopened. And like I mentioned, there is funding for a new one at 7th and T as well in the FY26 budget. And lastly, a quick final note on the Georgia Avenue Bus Priority Project, which is still funded, and DDOT has now moved from the planning phase to design phase. And the current draft reflects a lot of community feedback, and once a design consultant is in place, DDOT will have more updates and chances for the community to weigh in. And I will also share the page regarding on DDOT's website regarding the Georgia Avenue Bus Priority Project. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Quick question, Stell. Can you help clarify? So, Prop 82, no, Prop 83 had two aspects to it. It was ranked choice voting and semi-open primaries for independent voters. They're only talking about funding and implementing the ranked choice voting and not talking about or implementing the semi-open primaries for independent voters, correct?
From my understanding, that is, yes, that is the current, yes.
Okay, so they're only dealing with 50% of what the voters had voted on. Okay.
What was the reasoning?
Um,
I'm just curious. Do you know, Estelle?
I don't know, but I'll be sure to make sure I can get back to you on that.
And then special thank you to the council member for the Parkview rec visit. You had a lot of members of your team there, and it was a good discussion. And she's a very good discussion guide person. It kept it moving. So grateful for her skill set there.
And then Estelle, real quick, second question. You said that there's going to be an installation, a bathroom installation at the corner of 7th and T Street.
Yes, around that area. Yes, I don't know the exact placement yet. That hasn't been decided, but yes, in that 7th and T area.
Interesting. Is there any information that you can share about how that location was identified? What some of the things that they were trying to do with installing a bathroom there, and what are some of the, I guess, negative impacts that they're starting to prepare or want to mitigate against?
Yeah, so from my understanding, I believe that HIPS was largely advocating for one because they do their pilot based program right around 7th and T, and they I know Johnny from HIPS has been largely advocating for one there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to have a conversation about that, because I know I don't know a lot about the bathrooms, but that has been a problem corner for quite a long time, as the council member knows, and
Mhm.
feels like, without knowing enough about how the bathrooms kind of work and what they're trying to accomplish, that this may be counterintuitive to some of the efforts that have been going on for almost 2 years now.
Yeah, I will say, and from learning at lessons at the Columbia Heights Throne restroom, a lot of the community like outreach workers, they provide keys or like cards that you can open for, unhoused neighbors who might need to use the restroom there. So they largely partner with community-based organizations to hand out these cards so folks can, access like a dignified space to use the restroom and things like that. So I hear your concerns as well, and I'm happy to follow up with you and regarding more information.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mhm.
Commissioners, any other questions for Estelle? All right. Members of the public, any questions for Councilmember Nadeau's office? All right. Seeing and hearing none. Estelle, thank you so much for your time. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Right. And then next we will move on to Anthony Roberts. So give me 1 second as I move people. Oops. right, I just promoted Anthony. All right, Anthony, welcome. You have 3 minutes. Go for it.
Hello, everybody. Thank y'all for having me. I'm gonna be real quick. I have a few one update. Just wanted to make sure I reiterate to the community how important it is to put in 311s and how important the alert DC is. My update is probably for 1E06 as well. Gresham Place. That we have flagged one of the nuisance properties over there for MPD. They're going to be patrolling a little more and keeping an eye out over there. And also, well, it would be 1E01 as well over there at Parkview with 4D. That was basically the updates from the mayor's office today. Is that we flagged a few areas this week, and MPD has started going by there a little more. And if there's any other hot spots, I encourage everybody to reach out and send it to me, and I will flag it, and so we can put some more eyes there. And if you notice, it shouldn't be no more light posts this light this low or off. If you see any, please flag that. If you know of any community, the way it's set up now is that DDOT would be able to get they should be able to know when it's about to go out or if for some reason it's out. That's it for me. Real short and sweet. Is there any questions about anything that I can help with? And I still encourage all of y'all to reach out if you need anything, and we will continue to update you as incidents happen in 1E. So that's regardless of what SMD it is, we will send it out to the whole commission.
Commissioners, any questions? All right, members of the community, if you have any questions for Anthony with the Moker's office, please raise your hand. All right, seeing and hearing none. Anthony, thank you so much. Appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you.
And next we will
Have a good one.
Thank you, you too. Move to members of the community. So members of the community, if you have any announcements, please feel free to raise your hand and we will call on you. If you are joining us by phone rather than internet or the web, you can raise your hand by dialing *9. All right, seeing none, we will now move on to official business. So official business has been organized into our 3 standing committees. The committee chairs will begin by providing a brief update on their committee's activities from July. Then they will walk through each item of business and have 5 minutes per item to present. They'll take questions from commissioners and audience members until a motion is proposed. We'll start with Zoning and Economic Development Committee. Mr. Ray could not join us this evening. We do have 3 resolutions. The committee did not meet this month, so there's no report. I will just mention that the next meeting, as I mentioned earlier on, it will not be meeting in August, and so the next meeting of the Zoning and Economic Development Committee will be on Wednesday, September 10th. However, per usual, we will keep an eye on things as they come up, and so if there are any outstanding or any issues that need immediate attention, we will address it as it comes forward. So with that, we will start with our first resolution, which is a settlement agreement with Rain Restaurant, and I'll pass it over to Commissioner Hawker.
Thank you, Chair Footer. Is there any way you can pull up a copy of the resolution just so I can be reminded of our top level points?
There you go. Can you see?
Wonderful. Yes. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
So after a lot of, I'm so sorry, my dog is got a lot of opinions about this as well. Hopefully good opinions. I was extremely pleased to work with our local neighborhood as well as the applicant and owner of the establishment, Rain Rain Restaurant and Lounge, excuse me. I had a chance to tour the facility and meet with neighbors as well as the applicant. And I'm proud to present a hard one, but I hope really effective and strong start to a relationship with this establishment in our neighborhood. So we'll start with saying that it's a Class C tavern establishment. It is not a nightclub, and I've toured the facility. It's got a bar portion and then a restaurant portion, then upstairs much more of a lounge, as well as a couple of private rooms for like birthday parties and smaller, more intimate events like that. So we were able to come to an agreement on sort of trying to treat both Rain Restaurant and its neighbor Sunny / No Kisses in an equal manner in terms of hours and noise and everything else. So mostly the business will operate from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. as a sort of wide range, although it does seem likely that it may not, even though the application says these many hours, and this is what the settlement agreement came to, it's possible that they may open later or close earlier. That's sort of where we learned with the applicant. The summer garden portion is this sort of sunken in enclosed-esque space on the second floor of the establishment, and that will be open from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. And then you'll see in here there's sort of an extra bit of information, which is that the applicant is looking to enclose the space, and when that occurs, we'll probably sit down to adjust this section of the agreement. The big place of where I hope a lot of negotiation and agreement and relationship building can continue is on the capacity, music, noise, and privacy. So we did run some sound tests. We did our best to make sure that we were in compliance with the public sound and noise. The main concern of the neighborhood parties was vibration and noise that could be felt and heard in the backyards and the houses behind the establishment on that alley between Kenyon Street and Irving Street on the 3400 block of Georgia. So I think we've come up with a pretty good solution to that, which will be internal decibel monitors not to exceed 92 decibels. And we also came to some great agreements about how and when trash pickup, deliveries, repairs, and everything else occurs, through which door and when. And we've also talked a little bit about the entertainment. There will be no live entertainment in the summer garden until it's enclosed. That'll be part of any potential renegotiation. And gosh, I'm trying to think. Oh, well, yes, we did the public spaces and cleanliness. We were in very instant, easy agreement with the applicant about that. So I think we're also in agreement that our block and our single member district will probably also want to move forward with a rat abatement petition. So that's something that we learned as a consequence of this settlement agreement. Let's see. Oh, we also, in terms of security and queuing, though I don't believe that this will be need to be put into practice immediately, the entryway that's approved for queuing and everything else is the front entryway along Georgia Avenue. And there won't be any exiting or use other than for vendors in the back of the property that faces the alleyway. Because the alleyway has only one entry and exit, we're trying to keep that open for service vehicles and emergency vehicles. So that is sort of where we came to our community agreement. And we also agreed that the terms of this settlement agreement would apply to every person that might be renting any of the spaces or signing a contract to use any of the spaces inside Rain. And I think with that, I'm proud to say that we were able to get both the owner and my constituents that I represent to come to an agreement. And so we're signed and ready to go. And I feel that we're in a strong starting place to proceed and support Rain's business while always considering the quality of life needs of our neighbors. And so with that, I hope that if anyone has any questions, I can answer them, but it has my full support behind it for us to move forward on this settlement agreement.
Commissioners, any questions with respect to the settlement agreement?
Job well done. That's a lot of work, Commissioner Hooker,
Thank
and
you.
a
Thank
model
you.
for us newbies to follow. So thank you.
Yeah, I can just iterate that. So just for everyone's awareness, this is a bit of a masterclass on how to do this. There was a lot of communication over email, just making sure that everyone understood that they were getting together, that there was going to be an in-person opportunity to try and make sure that everybody was getting on the same page, negotiate some of the terms of this. And Commissioner Hawker brought everyone together. I was able to attend and help support her in any way for that initial community meeting. They agreed on the spot to come and do a sound check in order to try something innovative, try and make sure that they were building a good relationship, and that they could put stuff in here that was actionable and tangible. And it was just a really well done thing. And as we were very clear that both sides weren't going to get everything that they wanted, but this is a great stepping stone for trying to make sure that there was enough in here to get started, and we will learn. There were definitely some pieces of this conversation, or some pieces that are left in here to stimulate future conversations. For example, not having the entertainment license until they actually build out the exterior garden enclosure. And so he wants to do that. In order for it to be operational, we'll have to reopen the settlement agreement and negotiate further. So there are some clauses in here that are going to protect and kind of ensure that people are going to get back together. So just a masterclass, really good job, Commissioner Hawker.
Thank you, Chair Footer. It was a pleasure to actually work with everyone and learn more about this process. And I'm hoping that as we move forward, what we learn from this agreement can maybe be something that we share throughout the ANCs about any particular parts that worked well or maybe needed tweaking. I'm hoping, because we're testing out quite a lot in this settlement agreement, that it works well and we can share what works well. So hopefully a good starting point for all of us.
Commissioners, any questions? All right, seeing none, I see
one question, and I just wanted to say that the restaurant lounge is actually already open, and they've been working on like a daily, I'm not sure if it's a fee, fine, license situation with ABCA, but that is why we're here presenting it before our recess, is to move forward with the settlement agreement and the longer process of having the license approved. So the restaurant and lounge is open.
And I see that we do have a community member with a question, so I'm going to allow Haley Hinckley. You should be able to talk now.
Hi, yeah, this is Isaac and Haley. I'm not sure. I just wanted to we wanted to thank you all for your help on this, and just really appreciate your partnership, and hopeful for a productive relationship here with Rain going forward. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions from community members? All right, seeing none, I will now accept a motion to adopt the settlement agreement between the Advisory Neighborhood Commission and Rain Restaurant LLC.
I move with unanimous consent to adapt the settlement agreement as written.
Second.
I'm so sorry, did you say with unanimous consent?
Yes, I did.
No.
I move with unanimous consent.
Thank you. Is there any dissent? Hearing none. All right, the motion passes and the settlement agreement is adopted.
I'm gonna go out and
And
have myself a slice of cake. This was a lot of work, but I'm really, really proud of all of us. Thank you, everyone.
and then Commissioner, do you want to just quickly talk through the resolution supporting a stipulated license?
Absolutely. Okay, so this is very similar, almost exactly the same as the full-on settlement agreement. What this is the stopgap measure between our signed agreement and the full implementation of the Class C tavern license application and approval. Because that takes quite a lot of time, I worked with Chair Footer to have the resolution supporting a stipulated license. So, Chair Footer, would you like me to read all the way through this or just sort of be like same but
It's
different title?
it's pretty standard. And
Okay.
as you said, the primary purpose of this is that now that we've negotiated a settlement agreement, we're all kind of on the same page. We don't want bureaucracy to be the in the way of business succeeding. And so stipulated licenses basically say that we're in agreement that they can start operating while the ABCA goes through the bureaucratic process. And so all the terms and conditions of the settlement agreement apply during this stipulated license period.
Exactly. So it's sort of the run-up period where all of the stipulations that we just agreed to in the settlement agreement begin being implemented, and it operates with the same level of stipulations and requirements.
Any questions with respect to the stipulated license? Right. Members of the community, any questions with respect to the resolution supporting a stipulated license for Rain Restaurant LLC? If so, please raise your hand. All right, seeing none. I'll now accept a motion to adopt the resolution supporting a stipulated license for Rain Restaurant LLC.
I move with unanimous consent that we adopt the resolution as written.
Thank you very much. Is there any dissent? Hearing none, the motion passes and the resolution is adopted. Really quickly, before we move on to the next thing, Commissioner Grant, there is a time restriction on these. The protest deadline is August 4th or something. So
Okay,
immediately following this meeting, I'll sign it. And then if you sign it, and then if we can send it over to ABCA this week, just to get it in well before the deadline would be great.
that sounds good. Brian, okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. So next we will move on to our third resolution, and Commissioner Howard.
Thank you. Yeah, so this is pretty straightforward. The DC Department of Housing and Community Development released its draft for the low-income housing tax credit qualified allocation plan. It's a big wordy thing, but a pretty important tax credit. And part of their recommendations is getting community input on what should be prioritized in terms of scoring and awarding these credits out. And so, it's pretty critical in shaping what kind of affordable housings are built in our area. It's basically, it's trying to encourage good behavior through the tax system. And so I kind of went through there and read it, and I sent the report around to all of you all as well. And some of the ones that stuck out to me, I think they had really good recommendations here. And again, just trying to stick to what is in the ANC jurisdiction, what is in the tax credit, lane, because there's a ton of stuff over there, other things that are involved in building a complex housing system. But what I think is really important is, that this tax credit is designed for truly low income folks, and that is what is a focus here. And so the points that we just saying here that we hope they incorporate and show support for is promoting deeper affordability across all the projects. And so, prioritize projects serving households at or below 30% of the area median income, especially neighborhoods with high displacement pressures. That is a lot of their language, but that's a pretty ambitious goal, just so you know. I think it's a good one to move toward there. And I think the developers that you know, have a significant number of deeply affordable, which is also a specific phrase, of units that we, you know, these, I think as these brand new developments going up, and I think we got our own struggles with, you know, the Bruce Monroe development project over there. Like, I think just, you know, expressing our support for really addressing the affordability crisis being critical. And number two, there you can see explicitly prioritizing households at, or excuse me, explicitly prioritizing projects that preserve existable affordable housing and protect longtime residents. And, you know, Parkview, we have a lot of longtime residents here, and trying to always that balance between adding more units while also making sure people aren't displaced by you know, cost of living things there. And then always encouraging partnerships with tenant organizations so that, you know, that folks have a say in how their property is managed and owned and run. Strengthening community engagement requirements. You know, I think this is my kind of top priority here, is just requiring that developers demonstrate early meaningful engagement, particularly with the ANCs and community-based organizations. You know, I even added a sub-bullet there, which was like this: consider awarding scoring points for projects that show responsiveness to community needs. So those that are responding to what the community is bringing up kind of get, you know, a higher score there, or the projects that are the project developers that are doing that. And then the last two here, you know, encouraging, I think, you know, we have a lot of one-bedroom stuff in the city. It seems where folks are headed, but that's not great for sometimes family or folks with physical disabilities. And so encouraging, you know, prioritizing those kind of projects that were, you know, family-sized condos and et cetera, and units. And then, of course, climate resiliency and sustainability. We all know that Parkview is one of the what do they call it, heat spots in the city, in terms of one of the few that's actually kind of, I forget the exact term. I think it's heat pocket or heat zone or something. But Parkview is like one of them. So obviously, always trying to make sure that when we do that, we're you know, trying to add rewarding those projects that take that the climate resiliency sustainability goals seriously. And so the resolution phase here is just, you know, I think this also too, that like the enforcement of community engagement, like if we incentivize that, I would like there to be like an enforcement mechanism to ensure they actually do that and do it in a real way, and not just like a, you know, having a session no one knows about. But then also asking DHCD to clarify how they're going to enforce compliance once the tax credits are awarded. The one thing I did not put in here that I was considering was, like I said, I recommend, that's probably why that period's missing at the end of number 2, Brian, because I deleted it. But it gets complicated when you do this, but I was suggesting with the consideration of clawbacks for folks that don't uphold their end of the bargain. You know, it's a pretty aggressive policy to recommend for the city. So, you know, just for the sake of like touting what was in there in the report and good and worthy and valuable, you know, I just kind of took it out, but that could be something we can always add in. So like I try to keep it around the tax credit. There's a lot of stuff in there. I encourage folks to read. I think we can do other resolutions too. It's just this one is time sensitive because the comment period closes August 4th. And so I just, you know, I know we've all had a lot of calls, a lot of discussions on this call about housing affordability. And so I thought this would be a good way to kind of expressing our support for some of the reforms mentioned in there. And I'm not an expert on this stuff, so please bear with me as I do my best to answer any questions. But yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Commissioners, any
I have one.
questions? Yes, Commissioner Hawker.
Oh, Commissioner Howard, thank you so much for putting this together. Something that I just learned recently that I think might be helpful in the Be It Resolved section is perhaps some sort of clause, recommendation, light language suggesting that people who lead or are involved with community engagement have perhaps experience or certification or previous successful relationships with community engagement to be part of that, whether that be part of the incentive structure or be part of an accountability structure, to say, you know, like in the spirit of not just checking a box, asking for somebody with mediation expertise or something along those lines. I had to learn a lot very, very quickly on the settlement agreement, and it could be nice to push for productive community meetings rather than yelling community meetings, by asking to have somebody with the expertise to guide these so that they don't get slowed down, pushed back by a bunch of years. Everyone, leaves angry, but instead everyone can kind of leave in the spirit of compromise. So that might be something that could make both of these urgings more appetizing. Is if we asked to have an engagement specialist be involved in these conversations.
I like that. As you were talking, I was typing, and Brian in the chat there, I dropped in language. I think if would look at it. But I like that idea a lot. Actually, that's really cool.
Oh yes, that's
Where
literally exactly what I was saying, but you cut it down and made it clear. Perfect.
Mhm.
Thank you, Commissioner Howard. I really appreciate this.
Where would you like to put that?
I think you do it number 3 there, probably. Or maybe as a sub bullet to a number 1, actually. That makes more sense. Sorry.
Hmm?
Yeah. Maybe we should say should have now that I look at it.
Here.
Yeah. Great. Thank you, Commissioner Hawker.
Commissioner Jacobson.
Thank you, Chair Footer. Thank you, Commissioner Howard, for putting this together. I like most of what's written. I have some concerns about the community engagement piece. I wrote some of this in an email. I think.
Oh, I didn't see that. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. It's okay. I think generally there's a lot of good work that can be done in community engagement, but I think I've seen a lot of big examples over the past few years that makes me think that part of it is broken, and I worry that pushing for enforcement of community engagement could make some of these projects take even longer to develop, which means people are less likely to get housed. We saw that with McMillan, where that project was starting to be discussed in 2008, and we still haven't broken ground on any sort of housing. We saw that with Bruce Monroe, where that project was supposed to start in, I think the first kickoff was like 2015, and we're probably not going to see any shovels in the ground for another 3 to 4 years, right? And I don't think community engagement is the root of all of it, but I think like wanting a very substantial community engagement process is part of it, because we've seen the zoning commission delay decisions on some of these because they want to have like 10 different meetings to get comments that stretch over the period of many months, and then it takes them a while to come out with a decision. So I'm in favor of most of the resolution, but not in favor of the community engagement portions, because I just think it's not fleshed out enough, and I don't want to say like conduct outreach in a meaningful way and not give specific guidance without like, I worry that it could be interpreted as like there needs to be a lot more, and we might not actually mean that.
What about like an adjective that says like, timely, or it done in a way that doesn't unduly delay a project or something, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'd
want
be
to
in favor of
just
that. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I want to
Commissioner
dovetail
Grant.
on Josh's comment as well. I've been involved in the Park Morton Bruce Monroe process since 2006, and through 7 years of litigation. There was robust community engagement, and it was used to stall the project by people who opposed the project. So I am all for community engagement, actually, but yeah, I do think that there needs to be some language in there that puts boundaries on it as well, to prevent the kind of engagement that can actually stall the project. Now, there has been ground that's been broken almost 10 years later on both of those sites, but it has come at a high price, which is something that, Josh, I think you pointed out in your email as well.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Grant. I'm sorry for misspeaking. You're right. It's been broken on Park Morton, but not on the Bruce Monroe site, right?
Well, they've started to build. They have started to build on McMillan. And
oh no, on McMillan, yes, but not Bruce Monroe. Okay, yes. Right.
Not the Bruce Monroe part,
Yep.
right, side on Georgia Avenue.
I guess, yeah, in terms of what we could put in here, Yeah, I like the include mechanisms to ensure engagement is conducted in a timely and meaningful way, beginning early in the development process. And something along the lines of making sure that ensure that projects are not substantially delayed by a drawn out community engagement process or something like that.
I mean, I think there needs to be a definition, maybe refer to constructive and productive community engagement and maybe define what that is. And to Philippa's point, she's got the mediation piece in there, which I think is also very helpful. But I think maybe some definitions need to be in there as well.
If I may just ask a question of Commissioners Grant and Jacobson, this could be just my pure ignorance while Commissioner Howard has a chance to sublimate and put together words. When we talk about using the community engagement process to delay a project, is that not engagement from the community saying we do not want this project? And is that not legitimate engagement to say, well, we're here to engage on not having this project? As someone who understands and supports affordable housing, is there an expectation in the community that there is no stopping this and we're just trying to compromise? I guess I'm curious to know what the history.
Well, I think in the case of Park Morton, Bruce Monroe, and I don't want to open a whole can of worms, after, court decision, there were appeals and appeals. And then when the final decision was made, there were still claims of the need to engage with then council members. And so that still led to an additional delay. So it's that kind of engagement. Again, while I think it's incredibly valuable and absolutely necessary, it does become weaponized. It can become weaponized at some point, depending on the interests of actors. So I just think we need to be aware of that.
And that makes perfect sense. I just I didn't I knew there was some history, I just didn't know the full history.
Yeah, and Philippa, I think Commissioner Brown and I, we're more than happy to talk to you about that history. It's a very long and complicated
That's
history.
if it had
But any of you who wants to know that story, yes, we can gather their pipes and around the campfire, and we can share.
Chairman Footer dropped some revised language that may be helpful.
Perfect. And so I put the other language in here as a sub bullet, but I know that's probably not where it should go. So are you suggesting to this right here?
Yeah, I forgot this, especially with the ANC's part, but so maybe add that in somewhere.
Include mechanisms to ensure developers conduct engagement in a constructive, inclusive, timely manner in the beginning of the development process. The city also includes safeguards to prevent projects from moving. Where should you include?
Maybe just after process, the first sentence, especially the ANC's. Sorry. Yeah. And I'm assuming the onus is on the city to make sure that the engagement process isn't abused and not the developer. The developer, I'm assuming, has an incentive to move quickly. Again, a newbie to housing policy getting caught up.
No, they have a duty and a responsibility to make sure that all voices are heard.
Got it.
To Commissioner Hogger's feet.
Yeah, and sorry, Commissioner Johnson, I completely missed your email. Otherwise, I would have done that before this.
It's all good.
Right. Any other questions, comments, amendments? All right. Hearing none, we will go to community members. Members of the community, if you have any questions with respect to the resolution, please signify by raising your hand. Right.
And Commissioner Foote, before we move on, I would encourage another commissioner who may want to step up and add their name to this as well, who's a little more versed in housing policy. That would be great. Welcome to my end.
I'm happy to add my name.
I would Commissioner Howard, I would have Commissioner Brown review this as well, and I'll also take a close look at it also.
We'll review it once we vote on it. We
Well,
cannot
never
amend
mind.
it.
I'm sorry. Oh, we want to pass it to, never
Uh,
mind.
Dude, I
She
mean,
didn't-
I sent it around here. Let me make sure I didn't miss
Sorry.
an email from her real quick.
Yeah,
And Commissioner Jacobson has offered his name, so I'm going to put him in here.
Okay.
great.
Thank you.
Super.
Jacobson. Yeah. All right. If there are no further questions, then I'll accept a motion to adopt the resolution supporting comments on DHCD's draft 2025 qualified allocation plan.
Mhm. Okay, I move with unanimous consent that we adopt this resolution as currently written.
Is there any dissent? Being none, the motion passes and the resolution is adopted. All right. With that, I will go back to the agenda. All right, that is everything for the Zoning and Economic Development Committee. Next, we will move over to Transportation and Public Space Committee. Commissioner Jacobson.
Thank you, Chair Footer. Just a couple of quick updates. You already heard from Estelle from Brianne Nadeau's office about George Avenue Bus Priority Project. This commission has supported that project several times, so I'm glad that that's moving forward. Once it gets to the next, when I think 60% design, there will be another NOI. And the goal is to hopefully break ground on the project. By break ground, I mean paint, really. Starting late 2026, early 2027. So about a year and a half from now. And then for Columbia Heights Crosstown project, which is supposed to go along, I want to say Columbia and is it Harvard? I might be blanking.
I
But
think you're right.
yeah, those two roads. That project will likely have a public open house at the Mount Pleasant Library in September. They're open to an open house closer to ANC 1E if we can find a public space that would be good for that. I've been trying to think of some, but haven't thought of good ones that are publicly available because we don't have as many like libraries or amenities like that near us. But if anyone has ideas, happy to share those with DDOT. And that is it for the committee. We'll be meeting next on September 3rd.
Great. Any questions for Commissioner Jacobson? All right. Hearing none, we will move over to Public Safety and Engagement Committee with Commissioner Newland.
Thank you, Chair Footer. I can keep this super brief. Nothing to report because we did not meet last month. So no significant updates for me, and our next meeting is going to be September 8th.
All righty. I apologize profusely. I do want to go back very quickly to the Transportation and Public Space Committee. Commissioner Howard, I believe that you had a motion that you wanted to propose or have a conversation with respect to promoting a petition that's come from some community members along George Avenue.
Yes, and I think Commissioner Brown and brought this up before as well as others. But a bunch of constituents had, or a bunch of folks in the area, some are constituents, some not, signed a Ward 1 petition. Here I'm getting the exact language. Signed by members of the Ward 1 Bernice Fontenay Senior Wellness Center. Them claiming the seniors have been negatively affected by the changes in the bus stops at the Washington Hospital Center and Veterans Hospital. They claim this is unacceptable. Many Ward 1 seniors are still active and want to catch the bus to their hospital appointments. And so what they did is they sent to WMATA and DC officials signatures on this petition. Thank you, Commissioner Footer or Chairman Footer, for having it on the screen. And I just thought it'd be nice if we forwarded this to DC officials and WMATA officials and just making sure that they see the petition, and not necessarily taking a position on it, but just making sure that our constituents' voices are heard. And so it's not really a formal resolution, but I guess a formal action of just authorizing I moved to Chairman Footer forward this to city officials, making sure that their voices are heard and amplified by our ANC.
There's a motion before us to forward this on under the ANC's name. Is there a second?
I second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Excuse me. All those in favor signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? With 6 in favor, 0 opposed, and 0 abstentions, the motion passes, and we will send this out to, we'll forward the petition on to appropriate parties.
Thank you. And thanks for the reminder.
All right. You're very welcome. All right, and then going back to the agenda. All right. So with no further business before the commission, I'll now accept a motion to adjourn.
I move with unanimous consent to accept the motion.
Is there
Did I
any
say it
dissent?
right? Yay!
You did it. Hearing no
Well
dissent.
done, Commissioner Hawker.
Thank you. Thank you.
The motion passes and we are adjourned. Before we all go, just a reminder that ANC1E will not have a general meeting in August. Therefore, the next general meeting of ANC1E will be Wednesday, September 24th, and the committee of the whole will be on Tuesday, September 16th. Announcements and other information about ANC1E are available at anc1e.org. Feel free to contact any commissioner with any questions. And with that, thank you all for a productive evening and have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Oh, Brad, yes, what did you need?
Just real quick, in fact, as we're passing stuff, I'm trying to turn them into news releases and put them online so folks can share them. So what I try to do is draft a quote and send it to you guys to, like, if it's your resolution or whatever, let me know if the quote's good.
Real
I try to
quick,
make them harmless.
time out. Sorry. We're still recording, or is this official business that we need to do?
I mean,
in
either way,
public?
it can be. I mean, I'm just letting people know when we pass resolutions and putting them on the website, I'll send the quotes to you to review, give them back to me. That way people can share and can alert their constituents about the resolutions we're passing. That was it. So it's on the news section of the website. I'm putting it out on Twitter and Blue Sky as well. And so, share far and wide the great work we're doing. That's it.
Gotcha. Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ending the recording real quick. Chair Footer.